how long did it take for me to heal from anxiety? Okay, so I had anxiety for 10 years, right? And I had also three chronic health issues along with it. It took me about 6 months of consistently taking action to feel about 80% better, where I was like, okay, I'm a normal person almost. Like I have the odd symptom here and then, but I'm almost okay. And the last 20% came from consistency. And for about 2 years now, I would describe myself as no symptoms whatsoever. But my advice is don't worry about how long it will take you. Just focus on what action you can take every day because that is something you can't control. And that's literally what I did. Okay. A, I'm taking Lexapro because nothing worked for me really. Okay? Medication. And like for some people, like I will recap my view of medication. For some people, they need medication to give them the breathing room to take action. And for those people, I've noticed it works really well. The people it doesn't work well is people who think the medication will be a band-aid and it will just fix their anxiety. Most oftentimes it just numbs your experience or makes you dependent on it. I'm working with someone who's trying to temper off Xanax at the moment and it's very, very difficult. So if you feel like you really need it and you've tried to take steps naturally and it just hasn't worked, then I see it as like, okay, it might be worth trying. But even with it, take action the natural way because I've heard countless people that take medication and then a few years later it stops working and they're in a worse position than they started with. Hey, it does numb it, but it's better than panic attacks. Okay, so I will give you guys a few action tips of things you can do in terms of healing anxiety. The first thing is you need to learn how to stay present, right? Healing starts in the body, right? You have spent all of this time pushing away your body and pushing away your symptoms. So the first step is mindfulness. How can I gain mindfulness? Somatic work, meditation, nervous system regulation tools, body scan meditations, somatic tracking, somatic shaking. Things like that can help you notice mindfulness of your, not so much somatic shaking, but somatic tracking for sure. For those that don't know what that is, so there's an acronym I teach called RAIN, which is recognize, allow, investigate, notice. So for example, if you're dealing with a physical symptom, first recognize where it is in your body, allow it, so let it be there, hold space for it. Then investigate what it actually feels like moment to moment. Be curious and then notice what happens when you're curious. Okay, Melanie, how can I stop being afraid of my anxiety? Good question. So the quote I always like to say when somebody asks me how do I like stop being afraid of the fear or the physical symptom or whatever it may be is the same one that's asking how do I let go is the same one holding on. And I'll say that again. Right? So the same one asking how to let go is the same one holding on. So first thing is let yourself be afraid. You don't have to push away the fear. You don't have to stop being afraid. Just notice it. Let it be there. Things that you can do to kind of reassure your brain that you're safe. A message of safety, right? So, for example, wherever you are, slowly look around the room. Notice the space in front of you through your eyes, because your eyes are connected to your nervous system. And notice your peripheral vision. So, for those that don't know what that means, it's like instead of focusing on specific objects like tunnel vision, and you probably move your eyes a lot when you're anxious, notice your entire image that's in front of you, your vision as a whole, right? It's almost like noticing the air. And then notice, am I safe right now? Is anyone trying to attack me? Even if I have this fear right now, am I actually safe in this moment? Like, is anyone trying to stab me, trying to kill me? Or am I actually okay in this moment? Thank you for the likes, Nancy. Okay. But mindfulness, really. Famous tomato. thoughts on MDMA therapy. So when I was doing my law degree, I wrote a dissertation on psychedelics and therapeutic use for psychedelics. I think I know sometimes people don't class MDMA as psychedelics, but I think psychedelic therapy is actually amazing. Um, at the risk of sounding controversial, I think things like psilocybin, under the right conditions, with the right experts, is proven to do wonders for anxiety. In fact, I think if psychedelics like MDMA, like psilocybin, like LSD, were prescribed under safe conditions. Now, I'm not saying you should go and take psychedelics. That is so not what I'm saying, because there are so many risk factors. For example, people with schizophrenia and bipolar, it can give them psychosis. So if you have no risk factors and you are in a country where it's legal, then working with a therapist has given wonderful results for people. MDMA specifically helps with PTSD. It helps with anxiety. Psilocybin helped massively with anxiety and depression. I think if under the right conditions, if it's legal in your country, I think it's amazing. I think it's much better than like the traditional medication with loads of side effects that's difficult to go off. Okay. SC, my brain feels broken, mom. Pins and needles in there, etc. Bad OCD intense. Tempted to get CT scan. So I know the temptation to get a medical checkup, right? Oh, my gut is fucked up, I need to get a colonoscopy or like a gut scan or whatever. Or my brain is fucked up, I need to get a CT scan. Right? More than likely your CT scan will come up clear, right? The problem is that right now your nervous system is in fight or flight. It perceives whatever you have OCD about as a threat. It doesn't think you're safe. And whenever your nervous system doesn't think you're safe, you operate from the part of your brain called your amygdala, right? That is the part of your brain that controls the fight or flight response. Now, whenever you are in fight or flight, you're anxious and you're operating from that amygdala, you will think in worst case scenario terms. You will always catastrophize the future. You will think the worst possible scenario is going to happen, no matter how unlikely it may seem, right? So one thing to notice is that, okay, like I'm operating from my amygdala right now, I don't necessarily need to trust every thought I have. Whenever you are out of that fight or flight response, you will operate from what's called your prefrontal cortex, right? That is where it's more logical, more rational. Okay. Thank you for the likes. Okay, got a few questions here. Natiha, hi, I'm from France. I love your content. Thank you for this safe place. Thank you. And hello from France. Or from the UK. SC, thanks for all your content. You're welcome. Yvette, how to practice mindfulness. So there's a good few resources, right? You can try meditation apps. Personally, I didn't really like meditation apps because it gave me the idea that I should feel different, right? And I should get into a meditative state. I personally like effortless mindfulness, non-dual mindfulness. This comes from meditation traditions like Buddhism, Taoism. Zen is one of my favorites. Adyashanti is a meditation teacher I respect. Sam Harris has great resources on the Waking Up app. I have my own meditation course specifically for anxiety. You can DM me if you're interested in that, by the way. Like those, you have a good few there, right? But in terms of how to actually do it, the first thing I would teach is notice your breath, right? Because when you're anxious and you're thinking or you're stressed, the first thing that changes is your breath. Your breath moves into your chest and your neck and you start breathing more rapid and shallow. It's one of the things that happen when you are anxious. So the first thing I teach people to do is notice your breath as it is. Don't try and change it. Don't try and deepen it. Just notice it as it is. And naturally when you do that, gently, easily, like you're not focusing hard on the breath, you're not concentrating. It's like you're using 5% of your attention to just gently notice the breath. And then once you notice the breath gently, it kind of naturally moves into your belly. and you start noticing the breath from your belly. And then as you're doing that, you can notice your other senses, like your vision, right? But beginning steps, you can do a regulation tool to switch your nervous system out of fight or flight. Notice your breath as it is. Let your shoulders go. Let your hips go. Let your face go. Parts of your face, parts of your body, pardon me, that would tense, let them go gently. And then ease into that for now, because you'll notice yourself thinking. And the practice is, as soon as you notice yourself thinking about your anxiety, just gently return it to the breath, and then let your attention ease, and just experiment with how much attention do I need to use before, like, to stay present. And that's really the practice in the beginning stages anyway. Okay, what is the best screen time blocker app? So personally, I like Opal, right? That's the one I use. It's the one I pay for. I'm not an affiliate, but I recommend it. You can't snooze it. You can't even delete the app when the most intense block is on. You can't change the time zone to trick it's like to it being unlocked. Like if you have a block until 2 p.m, if you change the time zone on your phone, it won't work. So I like Opal. That's the one I use. Isaac, bro, I panic and get dizzy when talking. So stop talking. No, I'm joking. So if you notice dizziness, right? Notice where actually that feeling is, like located in your body through curiosity. So both curiosity and anxiety and fear are processed through the amygdala. What does that mean? That means you can't be genuinely curious and genuinely afraid and anxious at the same time. So start being curious about your dizziness. Like, oh, where do I feel that? Like, where actually is it? And then notice, does the intensity change moment to moment? Is it the same dizziness moment to moment? And just notice with curiosity. You're not trying to get rid of it. Do not try to get rid of it. Let it be there. And then over time, if this is chronic, you can do things like self-compassion to actually reprocess your body from a sense of safety. So this is part of somatic tracking as well, which is this nervous system practice. But like, once you notice the symptom with mindfulness located in your body, what would you say to the symptom if you could? Like, if your best friend was struggling with the dizziness, what sort of words would you use? What sort of intentions would you have? And give those intentions to yourself through words of kindness. I teach this in a free self-compassion meditation course, by the way. Okay. Okay. Got a lot of questions here. Okay. Okay. Famous tomato. Glad I helped. Alex, why do I feel heightened anxiety and rage when I try to regulate my nervous system? Is that normal? So a good helpful thing to remember is that you are not responsible for how your nervous system responds. So try not to judge any emotion you have, right? So you have heightened anxiety and rage when you try to regulate. A, you might be regulating wrong. So what are you kind of doing to regulate? And B, notice that. Notice that urge. Notice that sensation. Don't try to stop it. It's not a problem you need to fix. Okay. Hey man, I have very bad anxiety. I don't know what to do. I'm going to college next year. So learn meditation and somatic tools. Whatever thing you have anxiety for example, if it's like your health symptoms, physical symptoms, whatever it is, don't stop doing the things that you do, right? Don't stop going outside. Don't stop being social. Keep slowly doing those things. You don't have to, like, for example, if you have agoraphobia, you don't have to necessarily go everywhere, but like set a goal. Like, okay, I'm gonna at least spend 10 minutes outside my home. Hit that goal consistently. Stay accountable. If I told you I was gonna kidnap your family if you didn't hit that goal, you would do it. Find a way to keep yourself accountable. Track each time you do it. Exercise helps. Nature helps. Sunlight helps. Yoga helps. Notice which of your like stop doing addictions, lower your screen time. Notice which of your habits are the worst that you need to focus on, right? And make those changes one by one. Melanie, do you recommend taking ashwagandha for anxiety? I think ashwagandha is great. I don't think it's bad to take it long term. I've heard. I know Andrew Huberman has said that, and supplement specialists have said that. It's not very good to take it long term, but for short term use to lower cortisol, it's great. So if you do take ashwagandha, I would cycle it. I take ashwagandha. I think it's great. Tips, please. What would you like tips about? Petrolia, I have a feeling 24/7 that my throat is closing. Do somatic do somatic tracking for that symptom. So you have something called a vocal diaphragm, and you actually, so whenever you hold your breath, your throat closes up. So the thing that's really happening is you're breathing rapid and shallow, and you're actually holding your breath, which is causing that tightness in your throat. So let your breath go. Don't hold your breath. B, apply somatic tracking. So recognize the symptom, allow it to be there, investigate what happens, notice what happens when you're curious, and then let your breathing move into your belly. Flora, I feel constantly like a ball in my stomach, can't even breathe. So what we're most likely doing is you're clenching your stomach, which I did this a lot. So what helps with this is let your belly go, right? Let your belly button go. And just let this muscle around your belly soften. A good way to do this is literally just tap your stomach. I don't know how to ease the attention. So things you can do if you feel like you're focusing too hard. Ask yourself a question. What would this be like if it was easier? So like for example, someone asked me this when I'm doing a plank, right? I heard this from Chris Williamson. He was doing a plank, and then his trainer shouted out, what would this be like if it was easier? And then as soon as he asked that question, only the parts that needed to be tense were tense, and the rest relaxed. So you can try that when you're meditating or being mindful. What would this be like if it was easier? That isn't the question you try to analytically answer and come up with an answer for through your logical mind. It's something you feel into. Another thing you can do is, what would it be like if I used 50% of the focus I'm using right now? And just feel into whatever happens. My legs are hurting and they're heavy. Is it normal when you have anxiety? It could be. I've heard a few people where like your legs feel like jelly, and like they feel like you won't be even be able to walk or stand up. Saint Luke, what does it mean when you cry in meditation? I've cried in loads of meditation sessions. Most likely you're processing trauma and you're releasing the emotion. When you're meditating, you've gotten to a state where your nervous system is out of fight or flight, and you actually feel safe, so that your body feels it's safe to cry, safe to process emotions, trauma at a later time. Okay, Alina, I get blurry vision from anxiety. How can I fix this? So stress can affect your vision. Your eyes are also connected to your nervous system. What I would suggest is it actually lowers, like, focus on lowering your stress, right? Because the vision is just a side effect. It's not the cause. So identify what is causing your anxiety, right? Take action, step on the habits, things you can do. Avoid screens, right? Get outside, get sunlight in your eyes directly in the morning. Things you can do specifically for the eyes, collagen, getting enough sleep. But start by regulating the nervous system. Try regulation tools. Try exposure therapy to desensitize your nervous system. Practice mindfulness. Try building a few habits that helps regulate your nervous system. Vanessa, the thoughts of fear go away forever. So when you feel better, Vanessa, you won't even be thinking about the thought of the fear, like going away, right? I made a post on this recently. Like when you heal, it's not like, oh, you check and the fear is gone. No, it's like you wake up and you don't even bother to check the fear, right? Because it doesn't matter. Okay. Amy, do you get intrusive thoughts? So, the best way to deal with intrusive thoughts is the same way you deal with anything. Just be mindful of the thought. It's when you have one intrusive thought and another intrusive thought, and then you follow the whole story, like people would, like the entire story that you've narrated, thought after thought after thought, that triggers an emotion, that switches your nervous system into fight or flight because you don't feel safe, that is the problem, right? So if you can be mindful of that first thought, right? Thought is a sentence or an image in your mind, right? Like if I told you think of an ambulance, you can see that ambulance. You can maybe hear the Nino sound of that ambulance. It's a thought, right? And where actually is that, right? You can't hold it, you can't touch it, and it just comes and goes. So the best way to deal with an intrusive thought is to let it be there. Let it observe. And remember, when you're operating from your amygdala, you're going to have intrusive thoughts because you're going to think in worst case scenario terms. You will imagine the worst case scenario and your mind will give you those thoughts. I have anxiety, but I don't have like panic attacks. I think I will go crazy, like borderline. I have emotion. I'm not too sure what you mean borderline by you have emotion. It's good that you have emotions because, like, it's natural for the human condition. It sounds like your thoughts are what's bothering you. Meditation helps. Exercise helps. Getting out. So your thoughts will reflect the environment you're in. If you're in a closed room inside all day, your thoughts will reflect that. Get outside. Get into nature. Is it normal to... Becky, I messaged you. Okay, I'll check it. I'll check it soon. I have anxiety without panic attacks. I think I will go crazy like borderline or hear voices one. So worry about the moment that's in front of you, right? I know this is like a really, really common fear that people with anxiety have. Like, I'm going to go crazy, right? And here's the thing. You will not go crazy, right? You are just operating from that amygdala, from that fight or flight state. And that thought or fear of going crazy is just that. A thought and a fear that isn't real yet. That is just a projection of what you are imagining the worst thing to happen in the future, right? Very few people for you to really get like go into a psych ward, it has to be really, really extreme, and it's really, really, really unlikely, right? It is just anxiety. Trust me, I've dealt with it. Other people have dealt with it, and then you look back and you think, oh my god, I was just like worried for nothing. Like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just take action. Focus on the steps you can take. Don't be a victim. Don't complain. Focus on what you can do. Okay, what can I do to gain awareness of my thoughts? Well, I can journal and do shadow work. Well, I can meditate. I can do yoga. I can do somatic work. Okay, what things can I do to help regulate my habits naturally? Okay, I can exercise. I can focus on my diet. I can remove toxic relationships. I can make sure I get enough sunlight and I walk enough. Right? Focus on what you can control. The best way to deal with fears and anxieties about what might happen in the future is through action. Okay, Christina, living with anxiety is hell. You will never truly heal from anxiety. So if you believe that, so there's a famous quote that I like to recall when people think they'll never heal. So he who believes he can heal anxiety and he who believes he can't are both right. If you believe you can't heal, then you're right, you won't. If you believe you can heal and you take action towards healing, guess what will happen? You will heal. You weren't born with anxiety, right? Let's get that clear. You weren't born with it, right? Your nervous system, you were given anxiety through your life situation, circumstances, things that have happened. You conditioned your nervous system to be dysregulated, right? And it is also up to you to heal it. I'm so glad I had anxiety because it made me the person I am today, right? It made me the person who makes content. It made me the person who can teach other people to feel better, right? If you give your power to anxiety, you say, okay, I have been given anxiety. There's nothing I can do. I'll never heal. And you play a victim, you won't heal. And I'm sorry to say that, but you won't heal. Like, people who are have a victim mindset don't heal, period. People who decide that, okay, I'm going to take full accountability and responsibility for my life, and I'm going to take action, and those are the people that get better. Sorry for the tough love. Zoe, how do I go back to work like this? I haven't been over a month. So start by maybe going like once a week and ease yourself into it. Because your brain only understands what you put your time and attention to. So if you don't go to work, you are suggesting to your brain that, okay, I am unsafe and I should stay in fight or flight. There is a threat out. But when you start doing things like going back to work, hanging out with your friends, all those things that you stop doing, and you do that and you get the reps in, right? So like the 100th time you go to work with anxiety, trust me, you will be better at it than the first. It's all about getting the reps in and doing things despite anxiety. Okay. I eat very much and smoke and masturbate. Is that anxiety? It sounds like coping mechanisms. Masturbation is healthy. Porn isn't. Uh, Eating very much. Be mindful of what you're eating, right? So if you're eating like shit and you're eating a lot, then that's gonna obviously contribute to your anxiety. If you're smoking like cigarettes or weed, obviously that's gonna contribute to your anxiety. The dopamine hit, especially if you're abusing it. Thank you, Gabe. You're welcome. Daria, have you had agoraphobia? So not agoraphobia specifically, but I did deal with I would avoid going to places that didn't have a bathroom because of my IBS symptoms. I work with a few people with agoraphobia. The best thing is to set realistic goals and consistently hit them. So like I work with a mother who past a stop sign in front of her house, that's her safe place. Past that point, she gets really panicky. So we focused on, okay, set a timer on your phone, walk 2 minutes past the stop sign. She did that for a week. Next week she did 10 minutes, right? And the more and more she did, the more confident she got. And you mix that in with healthy habits like meditation, somatic work, does wonders. Becky, can you heal anxiety? Okay, this is the last question. All right. So, Becky, people are saying this is a good question. Can you heal anxiety and health anxiety without medication? Damn straight you can, because I did. I had 3 chronic health issues, and I would think all day about my health symptoms and be like, oh my God, like how am I going to live my life? I felt so exhausted and depressed that I had it. It's all about you, right? One thing is to be mindful of the rumination. Meditation helps you notice those ruminating thoughts. And then B, focus on what you can control. So I couldn't I couldn't control my health symptoms, but I can control what I did. Okay, if I have IBS, I can eat healthier. I can choose to put what I put into my body. I can choose to exercise. Exercise help. Getting out in nature and walking help me stop ruminating, right? When you start taking action, you get more confident and you have more list of undeniable proof of things you're doing and enough steps in that right direction, 100% you can heal without medication. Because I heal without medication. Only the overthinking bothers me. How can I stop it? Meditation, define the thoughts, journaling helps, exercise helps. Okay, I will answer one more question. And can you heal anxiety, agoraphobia without a therapist? So talking about your agoraphobia and just talking about it isn't doing anything, right? It's like I was listening to a podcast and his name was Dr. K. He's called Healthy Gamer. Really, he was a psychiatrist, and he said like when people vent like the whatever part of the brain that's associated with, it helps people feel the negative emotion less, but it doesn't actually do anything about the problem, right? A lot of people go into therapy and just talk about the problems and they don't take any action, and they're like, okay, 2 years later I'm just still talking about the same issues. Like, you need to actually take action, right? So yes, you can, but it's up to you to take action. Okay, last question, guys. Anastasia, how would your daily routine look like if you were in the healing process? Habits that help. I love this question. So wake up in the morning, Do not stay in bed ruminating about your anxiety. Wake up. As soon as you wake up, look through your eyes, give yourself what's called a message of safety. Then do a regulation tool like the physiological sigh, like box breathing, like humming, something that instantly switches your nervous system out of fight or flight. Then I would go outside and get natural sunlight in my eyes and take a quick 10-minute walk, right? Come back, drink some lemon water with electrolytes to kind of start up your body. Then what I do is I stretched. I did a bit of yoga, right? Because I had like tension a lot over my body. So if I found that if I did some sort of mindfulness practice, like yoga in the morning to give me body awareness, that helped a lot. Then meditate, right? Just take a few moments, 10-15 minutes, to sit with your symptoms, to sit with your breath, and integrate that to the rest of your life. Do that for now. Don't go on your phone when you wake up. Don't go on screens. Don't go on anything that triggers your anxiety. Just follow that. So wake up without your phone. Go for a walk in sunlight. Had some mindfulness practice like meditation, yoga, like stretching. Okay, just do that. And other things that can help. Cold showers are great, right? Cold showers are amazing. Ice baths are amazing as well. Exercising in the morning is also great. Just do that consistently, guys.